I'm just not happy about it. And this is something I cannot shut up about. I don't understand your political system. When are you learning to keep people from dying, man? That's the whole premise of the whole thing. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're from my Instagram or if you read the title of this video, you know that I'm going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. For those of you that haven't come from my Instagram, this is a little Insta Stories series that I started with Phantom Menace, and it's just gotten completely out of hand with how much I have to say about Revenge of the Sith. So here we are to rant about Star Wars. I also want to preface this with I am a huge Star Wars fan, but now I know that means a lot of different things. So let me just clarify by saying that these are the Star Wars things that I like. Episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Episode 7, if 8 and 9 didn't exist, and the hallway scene of Rogue One. I also want to say that this is not going to be a typical Star Wars rant. I'm not going to talk about the stilted dialogue or the stiff acting or things that everyone has been talking about with this movie since it came out 15 years ago. I might mention some things, but this is more of a video about questions that I have after my bajillionth view of these movies. That mostly include plot holes, some analysis, and just new perspectives since watching this movie for the first time. So let's jump in. General Grievous. I am not a fan of General Grievous. He's there as a red herring for Palpatine, so I get it. They need him in the movie so that the Jedi Council is constantly hunting for him instead of figuring out that Palpatine is the Sith Lord that they've been looking for. I get it. I'm just not happy about it. He also gets beat by Obi-Wan so easily. This dude has 4 hands and 4 lightsabers, and Obi gets 2 of them off him in the first 35 seconds of their fight. Yes, I timed it. The first lightsaber is gone in 11 seconds, and the second lightsaber is gone 24 seconds after that. And then Obi-Wan just kills him with a gun. He has his line, "So uncivilized." Great line from Obi-Wan, but I'm just not a fan of General Grievous. I don't like villains who aren't very villainous, and it just doesn't work for me. The other thing I want to say about him is a scene that happens. It's actually not about him. It's just a plot hole, in my opinion. In the very beginning, the opening scene, Anakin, Palpatine, and Obi-Wan are caught by General Grievous. They're in this room, and General Grievous throws something at their gigantic window to make it explode. Grievous flies out. He lassos something to the ship so it pulls him in, and he's able to climb on the outside of the ship in space because he's like 99% robot at this point. Inside the ship, with this glass window completely destroyed, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine all have to hold on to something. They have to hang on so they don't get blown out into space. I'm sorry, but you are basically in space, and none of you are robots yet. You should be dead. Why are you not dead? Okay, let's move on to Padme and Anakin and talking about things with them. Something I just noticed in the beginning, after the big opening scene, Anakin is walking with a group of people through a big room with a bunch of columns. And he's walking with this group of people in the back, and he notices Padme off to the side, kind of in a corner, kind of not. and he says, if you'll excuse me, or please excuse me, and he goes over to her, and he embraces her, and they kiss, sort of behind a column, but not really, in a big open room. If anyone of that queue of people had just turned around and said, oh, Anakin, and one more thing, they would have been seen. How have they not gotten caught yet? How is their relationship still a secret? They have no sense of secrecy. I just don't understand how they have not been found out yet. They are the worst. They would be terrible spies. Noodle is here. Noodle's come to see you and rant about Star Wars. Okay, goodbye. Nothing else to say about that. But speaking of Padmé and their relationship, I want to talk about their relationship and the fact we want to believe that Padmé somehow could have maybe been able to get through to Anakin as he's turning to the dark side. We want to believe those things, that she could have calmed him down, but she knew almost everything that was going on. He knew he was upset about not being a Jedi Master and with the Jedi Council. She knew that he was having dreams of her dying in childbirth. I'm pretty sure that she knew that he had a great relationship with Palpatine. I mean, I guess maybe had she known a little bit more, but honestly, Anakin has changed so much from episode 2 to episode 3. He is not the awkward, lovesick child anymore. And this is something actually that Dan brought up, and I agree with, but Anakin is just so in love with the idea of Padmé. And even the way towards the end, he force chokes her. That's domestic abuse. And I mean, it's sad. It really is. To see this guy who was so in love with this girl for 2 movies completely lose his mind for power to try to save her. I mean, he's mad. He's crazy at this point. And I will talk more about this scene later, but not right now as it pertains to Padmé. I actually want to move on to her death scene, which I am so confused about. The whole point of Padmé's death is that medically, she's good, even after being force choked by Anakin. The robot comes out to Obi-Wan and says, medically, she's fine, but for reasons we can't explain, we're losing her. She's lost the will to live. Fine. Makes sense. Anakin's evil, etc. But right before she dies, she tells Obi-Wan that there's still good in Anakin. If she believes that, why is she dying? I don't understand. If there was someone that I loved and they turned super evil, and I saw how super evil they turned, if I believed there was still good in that person, I think I'd want to stick around to see it, right? I don't know. I'm very confused. I know the whole point is that she's supposed to die not because of anything medically wrong with her, but because Anakin's turned to the dark side, but she still believes there's good in him, and as we find out in episode 6, there is. So why did she die? Okay, the last thing I want to say about Padmé before I move on, and this is something I cannot shut up about. In Phantom Menace, I asked, why is a 14-year-old queen? Who is her regent? Why is a 14-year-old running things? In Attack of the Clones, I got that answer. She was elected. People voted to put a 14-year-old into office as queen. In Revenge of the Sith, at the very end, we have Padmé's death procession, I guess. And there's a shot of the new queen. This girl looks 14 too. What is going on, Naboo? What is happening? Why are you electing 14-year-olds into office? I don't understand your political system. Okay, let's talk Obi-Wan. My favorite, my heart. Let's talk Obi-Wan and Anakin. From the beginning, or in the beginning, they treat Obi-Wan like a damsel in distress. And I know they're doing this so that they can show that Anakin is amazing and he's the chosen one. He's so great. But Anakin needs to save him. And right after the opening scene, they say he's had to save him 9 times. It seems weird. Obi-Wan is better than that. And like I said, I know what they're trying to do. I know they're trying to show Anakin as this superior being, but don't do it at the expense of the real hero, which is Obi-Wan. Don't appreciate that. Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship is... they're supposed to be like brothers. And I see that only in the beginning of this movie. In the last movie, Anakin refers to him as kind of like a father figure, and that's definitely how it comes off. And at the beginning of this movie, they do come off as brothers, and that's great. But man, Anakin's mood swings. So after Anakin is put on the Jedi Council, but they do not grant him the rank of Master. So he's on the Council, but he's not Master Skywalker. He's not a Jedi Master. And Anakin is pretty pissed about this, even though Obi-Wan told him, you're the youngest Jedi to ever be put on the Council. Still seems kind of cool to me. But anyway, Anakin's mad that he is not a Master. He gets pissed off. But then after that scene, or a few scenes later, he pulls Obi-Wan aside and talks to him and is just like, look, I'm sorry, I've been arrogant, I've just been so frustrated with the Council, but I am super, super grateful to you for being my master. And Obi-Wan says, it's cool, bro, you're a great Jedi, we're brothers, is basically what he tells him. Literally, 3 minutes later in this movie, this is something else that I timed, Anakin has a dream about Obi-Wan helping Padme give birth, and Padme dies in birth. So Anakin goes to see Padme and is like, Obi-Wan's been here, huh? Why was he here? And Padme goes, yeah, he came by this morning, offered him some sugar, cup of sugar. He says you've been under a lot of stress. And then Anakin rants about Obi-Wan and the Council not trusting him. But not only that, he singles Obi-Wan out. He says, Obi-Wan and the Council are not trusting me. Seems like a pretty strong flip from 3 minutes earlier. Looking at you, Daenerys. I know the lore, I believe, is that Palpatine put these dreams into Anakin's head to help turn him to the dark side. But I always say, even as a writer, that a movie should be able to stand on its own without having to read a book or anything outside the realm of the movie. So I don't appreciate this. The last thing I want to talk about with Obi-Wan is the ending of his and Anakin's relationship, their fight. And I guess my question is, does Obi-Wan think that Anakin is dead after he's set on fire? I mean, if I saw that, I would 100% think Anakin was dead. And yet, a few minutes later in Padme's death scene, Padme tells Anakin there's still good in him. I mean, we all know that he becomes Vader, etc., and he doesn't die. But it just seems weird. Like, did Obi-Wan leave him there to die? Did he expect him to die? I don't know. I'm a little confused about that scene. He leaves him on fire, but I don't know. I would think that I would have been leaving that person there to die with one robot arm, no legs, no other arm, set on fire. Maybe that's just me. Also, this is super random, but while Anakin's on fire, his robot arm, he reaches it out, and I'm pretty sure it's like him trying to grab, gravel or the ground to like bring him away from the lava of fire. But it looks like he's reaching out to Obi-Wan, and it just got my heart. All the feels. It did. Okay, let's talk about the most interesting aspect of this movie, in my opinion, which is Anakin and Palpatine's relationship. The first thing I notice is they talk about Palpatine being there for Anakin over the last 3 to 4 years between when Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith takes place. Apparently, Anakin and Palpatine have grown very close. But it was not shown at all. Anakin and Palpatine had zero interaction in Attack of the Clones, and now we're just expected to believe that they're besties. I think they had one line together in Phantom Menace where Palpatine says, "We'll watch your career with great interest," or something like that. And you know where it's going. But they virtually don't talk at all from what I can remember. And now they're just really close. And I find that to be a super poor decision, especially knowing where these movies were headed. As a writer, we are told time and time again, show, don't tell. And this movie did a ton of telling. There is just so much that we're just expected to know and to believe, and I don't like that. But okay, let's talk about Palpatine. From the first scene that you see him in this movie, bound to his chair with his apprentice Dooku, Anakin and Obi-Wan come in, Obi-Wan becomes damsel in distress, Anakin has the high ground. He's got Dooku about to chop off his head, and he's like, "No, I'm a Jedi, I can't do this." I'm gonna have to show you this clip, because I can't even do it justice.
Good, Anakin, good. Kill him.
How do you not know this guy is evil from this scene alone? Anakin says, "I shouldn't," and Palpatine says, "Do it," in his really strange tone and voice. And Anakin does it, and he says, "I shouldn't have done that, it's not the Jedi way." And Palpatine just sweeps it under the rug. Man, Annie, how do you not know this guy is evil? I think if Obi-Wan had been awake, he would have known right away, and this movie wouldn't have happened, and Anakin would still be a Jedi. Now let's talk about something that I noticed for the first time that I guess other people probably have. I can't imagine other people haven't, but it's the first time I ever put 2 and 2 together, and I find it super duper interesting. Let's talk about Darth Plagueis. So if you don't know the story of Darth Plagueis, Palpatine tells Anakin this story. Darth Plagueis is a very powerful Sith Lord, or he was. Palpatine tells Anakin that Darth Plagueis was so powerful, he could create life and he could keep people from dying. The only problem is that Darth Plagueis taught his apprentice everything he knew, and although Darth Plagueis could keep others from dying, he apparently could not keep himself from dying, and his apprentice struck him down and killed him. We know either from the lore, if you're a super nerd, or later, I'm just talking episodes 1 through 6, we're not getting into Rise of Skywalker here. We know that Palpatine was Darth Plagueis' apprentice. He is the one that struck him down. In this story, Palpatine says that Darth Plagueis could influence midichlorians to create life. This is a direct quote from the movie. Let's go back for a second. In episode 1, Phantom Menace, Shmi Skywalker, who is Anakin's mom, tells Qui-Gon that Anakin has no father. She just got pregnant and had Anakin. The lore being that the Force needed Anakin to be born as the chosen one to balance it, and so he was. Now I wonder, is Darth Plagueis technically his father? Maybe? Darth Plagueis can influence midichlorians to create life. In episode 1, we also learn that Anakin's midichlorian count is crazy high. Qui-Gon takes some blood, he sends it to Obi-Wan, and he asks for a midichlorian count, and Obi-Wan says he's got 20,000 midichlorians. His count is off the chart. Even Master Yoda does not have a count that high.
Coincidence? I think not!
Okay. Now let's get to the last thing I want to say about Palpatine. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk more about the situation between Padme and Anakin and how Palpatine is in there a little bit. So at the end, when Padme is trying to get Anakin to leave Mustafar and run away and they'll be happy and leave everything else behind, Anakin says, "Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that." Did the Emperor teach you how to keep people from dying yet? Because I'm pretty sure she's gonna go into labor pretty soon, and the Emperor still hasn't taught you how to save her. Like, was that tomorrow's lesson? I feel like it's something that would take a while to teach. I mean, was the Emperor going to keep Padme alive with his own power? Because I feel like Anakin's a little bit crazy at this point. Because 10 seconds later, Anakin says, "I am more powerful than the Chancellor Palpatine. I can overthrow him. We don't have to hide and run anymore." Like, what? When are you learning to keep people from dying, man? That's the whole premise of the whole thing. When are you learning how to do this? I guess never is the answer, right? Okay, let's talk Mace Windu for 1 sec. He's a dick. Again, after this rewatch of the prequels, I cannot get on the Mace Windu bandwagon. He is so mean to Anakin, and I feel like if he was a little nicer, things might have ended up a little differently. Let's backtrack to episode 1 for just a second. But the reason that Mace says that Anakin can't be trained is because he is too old. Alright, let's just pretend that you're a teacher of sword fighting and a legitimate prodigy comes to your school and is like, "Hey, can you teach me so I can become even better?" And you say, "Nah, you're too old." I think the real reasoning is because the Jedi Council is afraid of Anakin's fear and confusion, but it is just BS. Like, why would you not want to train a prodigy? Anyway, now let's push forward to this movie, Revenge of the Sith. Anakin figures out that Palpatine is a Sith Lord they've been looking for, finally. And he runs and he tells Mace right away. And yes, Mace does say, "If you're right, you will have gained my trust." But think, man! Mace! If Anakin is too close to Palpatine, which is what the whole Jedi Council is afraid of, and Anakin has confusion and fear in him, the fact that Anakin is even telling you that Palpatine is the Sith Lord, that automatically means he can be trusted. He's throwing him under the bus. I guess it could be a trap or a trick, but I just don't buy it. This means that he can be trusted and you sealed your own fate. I'm not even going to talk, I have to, I guess, talk about Mace Windu's death. Anakin says, "We can't murder the Emperor, Mace. It's not the Jedi way." He then helps murder Mace. And less than 10 minutes later, 7 minutes exactly, I timed it, Anakin kills younglings. So, yay. Alright. Let's talk about some random things before we wrap up. So, random thing number 1, cutting from Battle of Heroes, which is Anakin and Obi-Wan's lightsaber fight, which is my favorite lightsaber fight of all time. Don't come at me. Cutting that with the pathetic fight of Palpatine and Yoda. Are there 2 different stunt choreographers? I just hate that they cast these old people who are supposed to be so amazing, and it looks ridiculous. Especially when it's cut with scenes to the best fight choreography ever of Anakin and Obi-Wan. I know everyone doesn't agree with me, but in my opinion, I don't buy it. I'm not happy about it. Why would you do that to me? Next random thing, Dan actually brought this up, and I think my brother did. I think a lot of people brought this up. But how amazing would it have been for Vader's first breath to have been the last scene of this movie? I'll show it to you now. Okay, and this is just a question, but Leia's dad in this is referred to as Senator Organa. How is she a princess? I'm so confused about the democratic and political systems going on here. Like, why is he a senator but she's a princess? Is it her mom? No, I mean her adoptive mom. Maybe it's something I forgot from the original trilogy, but I don't really understand that either. I think people also claim that they spend the last 20 minutes shoving everyone into their New Hope Episode 4 starting places, but I would actually argue they spend the entire movie trying to shove people into their New Hope starting places, and they have 2 hours and they still can't do it. So, I don't know. Alright, before I wrap things up with some positives of this movie, I just need to make a blanket statement. There is way too much movie in this movie. Wookiees, oh, did you forget that they were in this movie? Good, because I wish I had forgotten. I mean, Yoda's needed on Kashyyyk. It's to make sure we keep the outer lying systems in our claim. But really, it's just so that at the very end we can get 0.2 seconds of Chewbacca and everyone going, oh my god, Wookiees. Not needed. General Grievous, not needed. Jedi Council, don't care. I just feel like had this movie been solely about Anakin turning into Vader with Palpatine, Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship deteriorating, Anakin and Padmé's relationship, this would have been a cleaner and better movie. It needed to be more character-driven, but they couldn't do that because Star Wars. I don't know. I don't know why they couldn't do that. Okay, let's wrap up with, I think I have 3 bullet points here of things I liked about this movie. The opening scene, super fun. I think it's noted in a lot of Revenge of the Sith reviews that the movie starts off super promising and then it just kind of falls flat. So, still a fun opening scene though. Controversial opinion. I love the dialogue between Anakin and Obi-Wan right before their fight, and I love most of their lightsaber fight as well. I love when Anakin says, "You cannot take her from me," while he's all crazed. I don't know. I love it. It's so, I love it so much. Sorry. And the last super random thing that I appreciate, when Yoda, Senator Organa, and Obi-Wan at the end are talking about separating Luke and Leia to keep them safe, to shove everyone into their New Hope starting places, John Williams not only gives us Battle of Heroes and the soundtrack, which is beautiful, but he also gives us Leia's theme song from the original trilogy in the background, and it is just so nice. Alright guys, that's all I've got on Revenge of the Sith, as if that wasn't enough. But thank you for watching. I did already watch New Hope, so that video will be out. I was really actually surprised that I have a couple of things to say about it. Not much though, because it's a pretty solid movie. Definitely won't be as long of a video as this. And we will be watching Empire this weekend on Valentine's weekend. So that video, I mean, I don't even know if I'll be making a video for that, because I think most of the Star Wars fandom agrees that Empire is the best, not one of the best Star Wars movies. So I don't know that I'll have anything to say about it. And I didn't think I was gonna watch Rogue One, but because I have to wait to watch Empire till this weekend, I will be watching Rogue One and potentially Solo, which is sad because I really don't like either of those movies. But probably videos on those, and I will be watching 7, 8 if I can get through 9, and there will definitely be videos on 7, 8, 9 because there is plenty to say there. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I guess I'll see you at the next Star Wars video.